The Voynich Manuscript. One of the most mysterious manuscripts in the world. Enclosed by a protective shell of stone, the Beinecke Rare Book and Manuscript Library is one of the world's foremost collections of rare manuscripts. Opened in 1963, the library is renowned for its translucent marble façade and the world-renowned glass book tower within. Amongst its priceless books and manuscripts, we find the Voynich Manuscript. Several times has it been dubbed as the most mysterious manuscript in the world. It was named after its discoverer. He is a historical figure in his own right. Born American, he is most known for his work as an antique book dealer and collector. Wilfrid M. Voynich claims to have discovered the Voynich Manuscript in 1912. Amongst a collection of several other ancient manuscripts. These were then kept in Villa Mondragone, a patrician villa, on a hill 416 meters above sea level, in an area with many castles and villas, thus named Castelli Romani. You find it about 20 kilometers southeast of Rome, near the ancient town of Tusculum. Villa Mondragone was afterwards turned into a Jesuit college, that in its turn, was closed in 1953. Attached to the Voynich Manuscript, was a piece of paper that was used as evidence of its past. From it, we know that the manuscript once formed part of the private library of Petrus, the 22nd General of the Society of Jesus. This piece of paper is now stored in one of the boxes belonging with the Voynich Manuscript holdings of the Beinecke Library. Wilfrid Voynich, according to his expertise, judged the manuscript to be from the late 13th century. He took his educated guess from the calligraphy, the drawings, the vellum, and the pigments. Today it is believed that it dates at least to 1586. Like most that look into this book, that is more than 200 pages long, he marveled at its numerous and strange illustrations of fantastically colored drawings. Moreover, its text was written in an unknown script, that, to this date, remains to be deciphered, and it is by some considered without equal in the known world. Among its amazing illustrations, are what seems to be drawings of unidentified plants, along with what might be herbal recipes. We also find curiously depicted women, tiny in size and naked. They are presented frolicking in bathtubs that are connected by intricate plumbing. To some, the bizarre, naked and possibly pregnant women, are enjoying themselves in what looks like amusement park water slides. The later looking more like anatomical parts than hydraulic contraption from the 15th century. Scrolling through its pages, we also find mysterious charts, by some deemed as astronomical objects seen through a telescope, and others, as live cells seen through a microscope. There are also several pages dedicated to astrological charts. In these, you may see a strange calendar of zodiacal signs, one populated by tiny naked people apparently in rubbish bins. Although there have been several declaring to have cracked the manuscript code, the truth is that, at least within public domain, nobody knows what this manuscript is. Decoding depends on finding some common ground between the code and the reality of the decoder. However, the Voynich Manuscript offers none of the enigmatic language used, and the unknown species of plants and herbs, that are nonetheless beautifully represented and watercolored. We know today about the same than Wilfrid, as he first studied the manuscript. From what we now understand, and this considering that the original text is linked to the drawings that share the pages with it, that the illustrations are divided into sections. This were herbal, astronomical, biological, cosmological, pharmaceutical, and finally, what is thought to be a recipes section, that is made of many short paragraphs. Apart from what was described above, there are also some pagination and several key-like sequences throughout the book. These do not match the original stylization of the manuscript, and are thus considered to have been added later on. For instance, we find names of the months in the astronomical section. Here is what we know of its history. As we understand today, it first appears in 1586 at the court of Rudolf II of Bohemia. He was a member of the House of Habsburg, born in Vienna on July 18, 1552. The records show that the Habsburg family held the crowns of Bohemia, Hungary, and Croatia. It was also the family that ruled the Holy Roman Empire. At the age of 20, Rudolf became the King of Hungary and Croatia. In 1575, he was crowned King of Bohemia. The following year, he ascended to the imperial throne. Rudolf, as many rulers of his time, was intensely interested in art, as well as the occult and alchemy. He would invite various well-known people of the era to his court in Prague, which was the Habsburg capital from 1583 to 1611. He spent lavishly on paintings and other works of art, this way gathering what was the most impressive art collection of his time. His court included an incredible number of masters of renown, from astronomers like Tycho Brahe and Johannes Kepler, to English poetess as Elizabeth Jane Weston. Not ending there, we might also find astrologers as Edward Kelly and John Dee. The painter Arcimboldo immortalized Rudolf as Vertumnus, the god of the seasons in Roman mythology. The image is that of Rudolf, but comprised of various fruits, vegetables, and flowers. Rudolf II had, as if makes no difference, the most impressive court of any Bohemian ruler, and that's saying something. Rudolf II was one of the most eccentric European monarchs of that or any other period. Rudolf was known to collect dwarfs, and as evidence of his extremes, he had also a regiment of giants in his army. Surrounded by astrologers, he was fascinated by complex games, mysterious codes and music that we all know to be above any form of magic. He was a man of his time, occult-oriented, and fascinated by the potentials of alchemy. Not only he supported its practice, he gave patronage to the printing of alchemical literature. As a footnote, the Rosicrucian conspiracy was being quietly fermented during this same period. So it came the day when Rudolf gave audience to an unknown person of who he bought the Voynich Manuscript. We even know by how much, 300 gold ducats, which, translated into modern currency, is about $14,000. This was an astonishing amount of money to have paid for a manuscript at that time. From this we deduce that the emperor must have been highly impressed by what he saw. Along with the manuscript, came a letter stating that it was the work of the Englishman Roger Bacon, who we know to have flourished in the 13th century, noted to be a pre-Copernican astronomer. Perhaps by looking into what we know of Roger, we might better understand what the Voynich Manuscript represents. Roger Bacon was a medieval English philosopher and Franciscan friar. He placed considerable emphasis on the study of nature through empiricism. In the early modern era, Roger was many times presented as a wizard, being particularly famed for the story of his mechanical law, as it was seen then, a necromantic brazen head. His remarkable linguistic work has been heralded for its early exposition of a universal grammar. Bacon's major work, the Opus Majus, was sent to Pope Clement IV in Rome in 1267 upon the Pope's request. Roger was also the first in Europe to record the formula to create gunpowder, an ancient Chinese mixture with explosive potential. Among many attempts to decipher the manuscript, there is one that I find interesting, not that it is more likely to be accurate, but because it is a good story in itself. Dr. Leo Levitov, author of Solution of the Voynich Manuscript, presents the thesis that the Voynich is nothing less than the only surviving primary document of the Great Heresy, a movement that flourished in Italy until it was ruthlessly exterminated by the Albigensian Crusade in the 1230s. For instance, in Leo's perspective, the little women in the baths who puzzled so many before and after him, are a representation of a cathar sacrament, the endurer, or death by cutting a vein in order to bleed to death in a warm bath. As for the drawings of plants that refuse to resolve themselves into botanically identifiable species, they presented no problem for Leo. To him, there is not a single botanical illustration that does not contain some Cathari symbol or the Isis symbol. Of the riddle behind the astrological drawings, he simply described them as easy to deal with, naming the innumerable stars a representative of the stars in Isis' mantle. The recent use of computer analysis upon the Voynich manuscript has only deepened the mystery. One thing has been found though: there are two languages or dialects within the manuscript, which are called Voynich and Voynich. Its long analysis by many masters of their trade and lodge revealed to us that repetitiousness of the text is obvious to casual inspection. By entropy analyses, a numerical measure of the randomness of text is obtained. The lower the entropy, the less random and the more repetitious it is. The entropy of samples of the Voynich text are lower than that of most human languages, only some Polynesian languages are as low. Thank you for watching.